as screening tests for STIs, syphilis, hepatitis B, and so on in that package. You will have basic vital signs check, and will have some educational sessions in regards to preventative of STIs, and also generally how to care for your body. And we have the Ruby Girl, which we target in the teen mom. So they are moms, but they're still teenagers. So the package will be slightly different, but still inclusive based on the age range and the needs that they would more or less require based on that age range. We also have the Emerald Woman. So that's persons in the reproductive age, and they will be focusing on, what do I need to do to prevent myself from getting sexually transmitted infections, such as the STI screenings, basic screening, which your blood pressure, your weight, and finger stick to check the glucose. Those things will be in our package. Also, they will have the pap smear option. Additionally, we have the Golden Girl. That package is more or less looking at the more persons in going into menopause, but they're not there as yet. So you could do menopausal screening, you will do the pap smear, you have the vaginal inspection with acetic acid. That too is something that persons now knowing about. It was there before, but persons more or less know more about PAPs, but they don't understand about the VIA. So that we want to promote. We have the platinum lady. The platinum lady, that person kind of get into the more or less menopause, going into that end of phase in their life. But they do have needs, sexual and reproductive needs. So we focus on pap smears and the screening tests, blood pressure, finger stick for glucose. So that package with educational sessions in all of the packages. We did not leave out the men. We have the Black Diamond guy.
Okay.
So he's in the reproductive stage, so STI prevention, also looking at blood pressure and glucose screening, weight, counseling. So based on what is needed, based on that age range, we package it like that, and also platinum gentleman. So that's the person who they'll be going in the later stage and later age range. So based on the need, we package that service for persons.
I know we hear the term packaging and we hear the term service. The services that's being rendered by the association, is it free?
Yes.
Is it free or is it
GPPA is a non-profit organization, so the services is not free, but it is more or less very affordable. It's
Right.
not for profit, but making it accessible. And as I also mentioned before we spoke, previous program that we always get grants. So we have some packages for persons who need the service, but they may not be able to afford it. We know how to channel them so they can get access to that care.
We live, Nurse Joseph, in a highly sexually charged society, and there's no arguments over that. And some may not like to hear it, but it is the harsh reality.
It's nature.
What are some of the trends that is out there? We talked about packages for young people, and I know some persons might be thinking, young people, why the need? Why are we going there? Put it in context for us. Why the need to address those concerns among our youthful population?
Okay, let's look at it this way. Sexual activity is more or less a natural thing, part of human nature, and that's how we get future generation. However, we should do it in a responsible manner. And
Right.
when person have the right, we say at age 16, a boy, a girl have that right to give consent. However, we need to empower our youths that in making that decision, you have a right and you are responsible. So when you're making that decision, you should be well empowered. Get the information from reputable sources. You can get all kind of information on the net. Make sure you can go to an organization like GPPA, go to your teachers, go to your parents, go to someone where you can have that discussion. And I can tell you, for the last 3 months, we had Zoom sessions with comprehensive sexuality education for youths. Most of them were attending Thanks. And I can tell you, yes, they are inquisitive. Yes, they want to know. But when they get that information, they will say, I'm not ready for that as yet. So having the discussion is not saying to them, that they would want to. I think more or less they are deferring it, because when they realize it's not just the pleasure part, but it has consequences for their health in regards to STIs, even leading to infertility. And they're not ready for that. Even just having a child, knowing the responsibility, they say, I'm not ready, there's no need to rush. But I think it's the unknown and the inquisitiveness what will make some persons get into it, and they're not prepared to deal with what comes with it. Then they end up with a teenage pregnancy, what that's been out socially and in terms of the education, a lot of implication. So I think we need to stop not talking to the children, educating them, but giving them the information. It makes no sense trying to hide it.
And that's
they will find it somehow.
And that is true, because knowledge is power, and we live in an information age. So access to the information, there's no challenge to that. They don't have to go sit in a library and open an encyclopedia. You give them a tablet, a device, and they lie on the bed and they have access to the information. But as you said, it is better if they're getting it from a controlled environment where we can look at both sides of the conversation, the pros and the cons.
Yes.
You've also addressed the male and men as well.
Of course, because I think when persons hear about GPPA, they just think it's all about women. That's not true. Right now, we have a promotion going ahead it started the 17th of December, where we offer discount for pap smears. So you get 5% discount on pap smears on the VIA. Also for the men, they get free blood pressure checks, and they can get free condoms. So that promotion is going ahead until the end of February. So as we know, most persons will, the beginning of the year, I need to pay attention to my health. I need to get my screening test. So we have a lot of women calling. Some persons already come and get the pap smear, which I'm encouraging persons out there. That some persons, they've never had a pap smear. They're afraid of everything that they heard. But really and truly, this is one of those cancers, cervical cancers, that no woman should die from it, because it takes so long for the cells of the cervix to change that there's ample time to catch it. If only you would have done a pap smear, that you can pick it up. The thing is, the earlier you catch it, it will be less invasive in terms of the treatment and less costly. So we are saying, please, women out there and gentlemen, encourage your partners, your brother, your sisters, the female persons in your life to come get their screening. And GPPA is a lot about preventative screening. So you're welcome to come.
Preventative screening, no done. And traditionally, though, Marva, we've always heard about women getting the screening done, but men also.
Of course, and it's persons may say, the healthcare system not in favor of men, but I think everyone is responsible for their health. And as women, we need to encourage our male significant partners, whoever male in your family, that you need to screen. You can't wait till you have a pain, and time you get the pain, it's kind of so way gone. It's much better if you can get it at the earlier stage, so you can take precautions and try to get rid of that issue. We need to face it. Without health, you have nothing. So we need to encourage men. So you can come into GPPA, you can get a screening test for glucose, you can get your blood pressure check, you can get your weight done. So there's a lot of other things that can be done, and we want to encourage that to the population, that it's not feminine only for girls or women, it's for all.
Let's get into some specifics, Marva. What are some of those health challenges that's trending now that each and every one of us, because even if you, like, I'm a male, but I may not be conscious of it, but you see your sisters, your significant others, that they should be aware of, these are the things that men do go through as well.
So, for example, you may have, generally, let's look at the mindset. You'll see women, they talk about things, they cry, this is what's happening in my life. they will talk about it, let it out, they cry, they feel better. Men, they are experiencing the same thing, but they are not cultured or taught to express. So we want to encourage. So what happens when they keep all those stress and frustration inside? They lash out when it's overbearing. Somebody just says something that trick them off, and they end up with abuse, sexual abuse, be it physical, different types of abuse, and they stable the whole family, the community, and themselves. So we need to kind of look out for one another and encourage, and what's happening. I find your co-workers, I notice you're not eating, or you look like you're feeling stressed. Did you sleep? Just little talk and encourage, look out for one another. So those aspects in terms of psychological aspect, but in terms of mental, in terms of the physical aspect, we need to encourage the men especially to go and get schooling. Find the time. Yes, you're busy, you don't want to lose a day work. Make an appointment. You could just spend half an hour or so, but make that time to get yourself checked.
In society, we live with stigmas. There's certain stigmas. If a woman reaches a particular age and she doesn't have a child, she's seen a particular way. We live in a society where young people assume that once I get to that particular age, I must have a baby. And we need to change some of those stigmas, don't we? Because you just hinted a very important point you made, and it points to the issue of sexual violence. And very often, because men, I'm saying men, because we talk, we're not expressive, and we live in a society where sex is a taboo subject, and men traditionally don't speak. So if they're having whatever issue they're having, they don't talk about it. 9 out of 10, what happens, the wrath is passed on to the person, and not just in men, but even with your females, when she's going through her menstruals. And you hear guys that say, boy, she behaves like her. And she may not pass it on to the people at work, but when you get home, right? So I think it's important that we need to get into a culture where we become, not that sex becomes a dinner table conversation, maybe if your family allows it, but we should become open enough as men to find those sources. And I'm saying the GPPA is one of those places where you can feel secure enough where a professional is advising you. And you saying, come on down.
Yes. So I want to go back to the 2 points you made. Remember, one of the days when persons feel I will have to make a child just to please somebody.
Right.
Having a child is a big responsibility. And yes, we have persons who choose, they can have, but they choose not to have.
And add to it too, Marvin, not just big, lifelong.
Definitely, lifelong responsibility. It doesn't change. You are a parent and you are a parent. But I'm saying you will find person who make that conscious decision. I do not want to have children. But you see them, they're excellent with their niece, but they choose. We should respect that.
Right.
We have persons who are in their 40s and, you're not having, we need to stop that. Making those comments, you get fat, we say those things without checking how insensitive it is and how it affects one's mental health and cause so much a problem. There is the issue with women going through, based on this, if it's a cycle or they're going through menopause.
Right.
That is a very big challenge because one, the man may not understand, the partner may not understand why are they behaving like that now to change. But it's a conversation to have. GPPA had for the last 3 months also was having Zoom sessions for women in the menopausal phase, and I must say it was welcome, and they're asking when are we going to have some more, because we had obstetrician gynecologists, also facilitators, and they were able to ask questions, get answers, but you'll be amazed how it can be a big struggle, and it's very complex. It can affect every part of your system. So, and persons react to it differently. So, if the partner do not understand what's happening to the woman, you know what's happening in that household. It's problematic because you do not understand why the person is behaving that way, why they always sick, always complain. It even spill off into the workplace. You may have a female going through that phase, and it's a phase, right? It can start as early as in your 30s going forward, and you realize it's not been, that person may not have even had a good rest, like they was unable to sleep.
Right.
And they come to the job now, and then everything stresses them. They react to it in a shock manner because they are irritated. And I think it's level of understanding, knowledge to understand and show some empathy and understanding, and don't try to, just make the person life become more very uncomfortable.
And
so
that
it's a lot of understanding.
And keeping yourself in the know, Marva, shouldn't just be for greater society or your significant other, but the individual themselves must be able to appreciate and accept, because acceptance is one of the fastest way to healing. This this is my situation. How important is that?
It is very important, because self-acceptance, so then you feel much easier to talk to someone. Okay, I'm sorry I kind of reacted in that way, but this is not me. This is what happened. Communication makes things a lot easier. So it causes, don't worry, I understand. And you may say, don't bother, she kind of having a rough time. To somebody else who may say, okay, she acting like this, but this is real, this is life process. Everyone go through differently in terms of the women. Men too do go through their issues, but not as emotional and hormonal as women. But you can see the changes on the hair, on the reproductive area. You will recognize it. So it's a kind of avenue where persons need that support, need that encouragement, need that knowledge, and to make life a lot better. We address the reproductive needs across the life cycle. So not just in the reproductive where you actually could have children, but post and pre.
Do you get a sense that as a society that we are maturing when it comes to the issue of sex and how we respond, we behave, how we treat, how we just deal with one another?
The thing is, with the internet and information is out there, we want to encourage more persons to read. We need a population that will read more, listen to, the news, this follow trends. The internet is giving you that ability, but I'm not sure if we are using the internet, the access to information in a way that should enrich and enable our thoughts. It might be more on the social media and those things. A lot of time is spent, but we should make that conscious effort to be in the know, be aware, keep current with things. So with that, I think persons, yes, are becoming more understanding, and because they have access. Before, nobody talks to you about that because you're not supposed to talk about it.
Right.
But we can't. I think it's more or less approaching us where we just can't just brush it off because it's there. So we now need to make sure the media is safe and it's something valid, that you're not getting false information or one side of the story.
And I'm assuming also that you would want to underscore the importance of measuring the information that you get. Yes, you can Google everything, but sometimes the sources that's out there, you can't always trust it. Are they reputable?
No.
What's the angle? And I guess that's what you're saying. That's where the GPPA comes in. Trusted professionals, and that's a good thing that you know. And when you walk in, listen, you see who's in front of you. You can see, and then you get to realize, I saw Miss Joseph on TV the other day, and you're able to build that kind of rapport, and all of that would help for us to deal with those challenges.
I must say, sitting here, even as the executive director, I'm a nurse with a nursing background, and every moment I get to empower a woman, and when I hear the stories, trust me, there's a lot to be done, and a lot of women is going through a lot of issues, especially related to gender-based violence. Even to decide, okay, I don't want to have any more children. I would like to get on a better. Some of them have to hide, and we should not be in that position. If you're in a relationship like that, it is very unhealthy. Because you should be able to say, okay, we want to have one child, 2 children, how many? This is the spacing, this is what we have to do. Because you have to take care of that child financially, emotionally, spiritual, all aspects. So
Right.
every child deserves that care and attention. So this pacing is important, and the state itself would not have to always have to dip in the pocket to try to care for a child that you just make because you couldn't make. You don't even know how it happened.
But
You just came.
it's interesting, and I'm smiling because very often I said I sort of can't understand the economics to why is it some individuals allow themselves to get into the disposition that they do with a number of children that they can't control. I keep saying, listen, there's free condoms out there. It's as cheap as $3-4. If you compare the
$1
cost,
vials.
$1, folks. Janelle, Janelle, you hear? $1 condom. You wanted to know if they have. If you weigh the economic cost as compared to having to buy a tin of milk, Pampers, cereal, school, education, and you know what happens in the first couple of years of a child? The head scratch them, and you and I, we will think, okay, I'll go by the doctor tomorrow. But child starts to cry. You have to find the money. If you think about it that way, as we said, that lifelong commitment, then all of a sudden you start thinking, you know what? This is not just about sex anymore.
No, it's really and truly, and it's not just the pleasure side, it has the other aspect that you must consider. So with the right we have to have sex, we have that responsibility that goes with it. Make sure when you do decide, this is what I'm doing, this is the consequence, I am ready for what comes with it.
And this is
so,
and looking at
GPPA,
right.
We are here to provide that service. So looking at the time, I'm just going to take the opportunity. We have condoms both for male and females, $1 each. We have the pill, the different types. We have the IUD, which is a long term. You can have it at 10 years. You don't have to worry about anything. So you could take it up before 10 years, and it's hormone free. So for those persons who are concerned about the weight and so, that's a good option for them. We have pap smears, as I mentioned earlier, the VIA. We also have cryotherapy. You can get your breast exam. Also, your screening, glucose, blood pressure, weight, and those things are done. And we have postnatal and antenatal service. This is something that comes, I really think that when persons want to get their postnatal, their antenatal checks, they have an appointment, they come, like 30, 45 minutes, they are gone, they can go back to their work or home. They won't have to stay very long because of the crowd and they wait on their turn. Appointment is made and you get your service and you go back. GPPA offering non-judgmental, very confidential. You come into your business, no judgment, very professional. Welcome.
How can you be reached before we wrap?
Okay, we are located in the Ponte Street, also known as Cambridge Alley. We have the phone number 440-3341, and you can also contact us on Grenada Planned Parenthood Association page. So you will connect with us there.
Thank you very much, Mava Primus Joseph, Executive Director of the Grenada Planned Parenthood Association. Again, thank you. And as you said, this has to be and will be an ongoing conversation as to how we edify ourselves and keep ourselves in the know. Knowledge is indeed power. All the best to you.
Thank you for having me.
It's 28 minutes onto the hour of 12 o'clock. Reminding you at the top of the hour is going to be the midday edition, a production for news and current affairs department. For all the friends in television, I leave you here for now. So long, everybody. JC loves you. Have a really, 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 really great time. For those of you in radio, the journey continues until 12.